asked David to lead that song today because I wanted you all to understand how encouraging some of the songs that we sing here can be to others, and definitely to me. There have been times when just hearing you all sing and hearing the melodies and the harmonies throughout the songs that we sing here, that I just get teared up back there in the booth. And this happens to be one of those. Singing isn't something God blessed me with. If you ever caught me singing alone, or I tried to lead one up here, there were people heading to the cars. But I think that's part of the reason why it's so influential to me, to hear others do it and to use that gift that they've been given to encourage and to admonish me in song. It means a lot to me. It's very uplifting. And even though I can't sing, that doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. You'll catch me if you lived anywhere near me. I'm sure my neighbors have heard it and they haven't said anything yet. I go out in my backyard by the pool and I just start singing sometimes, just out of joy or thanks or one of these that uplifts me. But the thing about it is, I wouldn't know any of those songs if I hadn't heard it here first. And so 3 months from now, I might remember a song that we sung here, and it uses it as medicine for my soul. And it's something that I hope I never lose that desire and passion to hear. And some of that song, it says, sing like never before. And I want each of you to do that. When you get up here and sing, you're not singing just for yourselves or just to God in praise. It even says in Scripture that it's to admonish one another in songs and hymns. Think about the people who may be going through a rough time, or maybe they're already happy and that just pumps them up even more. It's got a purpose. It's got multiple purposes. So if you have that gift, use it, please. It's I can't imagine when Paul and Silas were in stocks in prison, how quiet that place must have gotten when they started singing. All the jabbering, I'm sure, if they were even allowed to, if they could, how quiet they must have gotten when they started singing. And just how much that song meant to them. Maybe they were guilty. Maybe they were in there for right reasons. But it still would have been something for them to remember and think about later on, if not right then. So sometimes I think back on these songs when I'm troubled or thankful or tired and weary, or if I'm having a lot of pain or have a heavy heart. Sometimes I just feel like bursting out in song and praise. I think about some of these songs. And so that's why the topic of my Devo tonight is about, it's what it's about tonight. It's not about singing, but encouragement. 2 Corinthians 13:11 says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice. Strive for full restoration. Encourage one another. Be of one mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you." And here in this letter to the Church of Corinth, Paul says to encourage one another. If you do a simple search of just the word encourage in just the New Testament alone, in the NIV version, I found 39 verses that talked about encouragement. That's not counting the ones that talk about it, but don't necessarily use the word encourage as it's talking about that topic. And so when you see something mentioned that many times, it's pretty important to take heed and to listen to. Everything written in there is, but when it's mentioned that many times, it's a point trying to be driven home. And it takes on many forms, not just singing. I personally am being encouraged by examples of others. For instance, Frankie Kirkendall. I've been bringing her here for Sunday after Sunday when she can make it. And she exerts everything she has to get here. Just getting up in the morning and getting dressed is a workout for her. Sometimes I'll go there in the morning to pick her up. She's sleeping in her chair because she's already exhausted. But she still comes, and she still wants to be here every time she's physically able, just to be amongst you people, all of us here, because you guys are an encouragement to her. All the handshakes, the hugs that she gets, the people that talk to her and take time to talk to her, when she's not here, I still go see her on those Sundays that I bring her to the Lord's Supper. And And she tells me about how much she misses you all. It drives her nuts to not be able to be here. And so she asks for announcements and books and everything she can get her hands on to read about us and about the truth for today and stuff like that. She just loves to just surround herself with us and with God's people. You're a very special part in her life. And that's why I don't like to rush her when she's visiting. She could sit there probably in her chair and visit for hours with everybody. But it's like a small marathon for her to get here and to get back. And she spends the rest of Sunday evening, and she said part of Monday usually too, just sleeping, just from exhaustion, just to get here. I mean, she's literally broken her back, and she still comes. That's impressive to me. I have a confession to make. I had a pretty messed up back after running the 5K, if you saw these pictures. I had decided I was going to walk this 5K. It was presented to me by Stacy Pruitt, and she encouraged me to come do it, and I was excited about it because I've been trying to find ways to shed some of this. And I went out there with the intention of I was going to walk this 5K. And I got to the back of the line with all the walkers, and then they started the race. Everybody took off, and then immediately my competitive spirit kicks in. I'm like, I don't want to walk. And so I got to the top of the first hill, and I just started running, and I beat Devin to the very first stop sign, which I was pretty proud of that. But the only reason why I beat him was because he slowed down because his hands were cold. He didn't bring his gloves like I told him to. So I had him put him in his jacket and to just warm up, and we ran some going down the hills. I ran down every single hill and part of the flatways. And I caught up to Miss Melissa Collins and her sister. And I passed them going down a hill somewhere, and I ran for a little bit further than the bottom of the hill. And then I started walking, and they came past me. And this went on for, seemed like the whole race. Every time I turn around, I'd come down a hill, I'd pass them. I was like, yes, I got back ahead of her. And the next thing I know, there they go past me again. So it became an unspoken contest between me and Melissa and her sister, whether she knew it or not. And I won, but I paid for it. And I think I only won because she stopped to put something in her car. But we won't go there. So anyway, I was sore the whole weekend. Actually, I was bedridden all the way up until even Sunday morning. And I woke up that morning, and I couldn't get out of bed. I literally could not stand up. It felt like somebody was sticking a knife in my back. Every time I tried to stand up, I'd turn or pivot just right, and my knees would go weak, and I'd fall. And I actually fell back into my bed once or twice, and I said, you know what? I'm just not going to go to church. They'll understand. I can't even stand up. They're not going to be upset with me. But then Frankie called, and she hadn't been here for a month because she's been sick. And she said, I'm feeling better, and I want to go. And I said, you bet. And I hung up. And I looked up and I said, I get it, God. I'm going. And it hit me a little heavy too, because when Jim left, it showed me that we don't know when we're going to go. We don't know when our last day is. I didn't know if that was going to be her last Sunday. And I would have never forgiven myself if it was. So I went and picked her up. And then when I got there, I joked with her about me needing to use her walker and she could push me to the car. Because I couldn't stand up straight still. I'm still sore. But I use her as an example today, not because she's the only influence of encouragement I've had, or even necessarily the most influential, because she's not here. And I know if she was here, she wouldn't be comfortable with me bragging about her while she's present. But encouragement takes on multiple forms. I've been encouraged by hugs, kind words and gestures. Simple hand on my shoulder in the booth sometimes is all it takes to just move me, you know. The warm hospitality and conversation I have at Bible studies with some of you and at our events with our children. One of my best memories this year so far has been the campfire singing at the Cronodals with the 6 and under group. I loved that. I didn't even have my kid, and I loved it. Some of you take the time to listen to me, let me unload some of my burdens and to share them with me. That's a huge encouragement. When I had to move from one house to another, there were so many people that showed up with trucks. I didn't even ask, but I think 3. There were so many trucks coming and going, I couldn't keep up with the truckloads. And everybody was standing around going, hey, what can we move? And I didn't have anything for them to do yet. I've also been encouraged by some of the weddings that we've had here. Some of your kids have grown up and they've gotten married. And to see marriages take place here amongst our brothers and sisters, it means a lot to me. I pray for them a lot. And last but not least, the way I see some of you marriage veterans still clinging on to one another here. You just might be leaning against the shoulder of your husband or your spouse and not even realizing that that alone can be an encouragement to see for some of us. And so encouragement takes on many forms. And I could literally write page after page of specific things that I've witnessed or been a participant in that have really encouraged me and blessed me from this congregation. That's why last night, mainly because I was also pumped full of steroids for my back pain, I couldn't sleep, I sent messages to several of you telling you how you've encouraged me. And I didn't hit all of you. It's going to take a long time to hit all of you. But I hit probably half a dozen or more of you to let you know what specific ways you've encouraged me and how thankful I was for that. And so I'd like to encourage each of you also to encourage others as you have already done with me. Just keep encouraging people. You never know how much it means you may never know how much it means, but keep encouraging people. And I'd like to challenge each of us to find at least one person this week, hopefully more, but at least one, that you think could use a healthy dose of encouragement. Whether it's someone from church or a friend or a coworker, they may not even be a Christian. Be a beacon of encouragement to others. Like Joseph. Last night, I don't know why I never knew this, but I didn't realize Joseph was Barnabas' original name. And he was such an encourager that they called him Barnabas, the son of encouragement. And that's how we should all be. I had a verse here to reflect on that's not specifically about encouragement, but I think it's something that we need to consider when we're trying to go out and encourage somebody, especially one not from the church. And it's Psalms 46, 1 through 6. And it says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their singing. We need to remember that not everybody we come into contact with has the ability to just go and lay all their burdens on God and to pray and to find joy and peace in turmoil. Some people don't have that ability. They don't have that option because they don't know who the greatest encourager is yet. And so while we encourage, we need to encourage them also and to try and help them find that peace, lead them to Christ so that they can have this joy in suffering, or find that light of encouragement through difficult times. That was just weighing on me. It was something I wanted to talk about for my Devo, and that I think it's good to take to heart that encouragement goes a long way, and it has in my life. And I'd love to have other people experience that. So tonight, if any of you have a desire to take on Christ as your Lord and Savior and to be baptized into Him, or if you need the prayers or encouragement from all of us, please come forward while we stand and sing.